Welcome to That's What She Said, where we'll spill the tea on women empowerment in the Great Lakes Bay region with your host, Christiana Malacara.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of That's What She Said with me, Christiana Malacara. Thank you for tuning in this week, last week, and thank you for tuning in next week. My favorite day of the week is today. Whichever day this lands for you, it is That's What She Said day. My daughter asked me fairly recently, Mom, what's your favorite day of the week? She's still in elementary school. And my normal answer is kind of like a weekend day, right? That would be the go-to because it's kind of that decompression day. And I was like, That's What She Said day is my favorite day of the week. And she said, mine too. And it was so exciting to be able to share that moment with her. But let me backtrack a little bit. So I, as you know, for the followers that we have that have just been on this That's What She Said journey with us, I started journaling a few months back, I started journaling just because a lot of women that sat across from me said this was something that they did. I was like, let's give it a try. Okay. So the past 3 days, I've just been busy, go, not really practicing my pause. And I haven't been able to. And then yesterday I made a decision against my gut. And I'll probably write this down in my journal later, but I wanted to share the story with you. So I needed to go to a store to pick up a specific product. And I said, this store is out of the way. But I know this product is there, but I might delay myself and I should just skip it. And that was my gut telling me that. But this product was more of a want than a need. So that was probably where I went wrong first. I was acting on a want. And so I get into the store, I purchase the product, the receipt doesn't print out. I'm in a rush now. Oh, it's okay. I forget the receipt. Get to the car, open my product. The product's broken. Go back inside. Hey, I never got a receipt for this product. Yes, I know I didn't need it, but look at it's broke. Well, here's our customer service line. Whew, such a big line. Okay, so now I'm very late. Then I choose to get back in my car with my broken product. Not only did I waste time, energy, money, now I need to go back to the store that's out of my way. And I sat there for a moment. Then I practiced my pause. And I told myself, if I would have went with my gut, that told me, no, it's okay. Keep going. You're fine how you are. This wouldn't have been a situation. So this just happened yesterday. And now I'm thinking about it a little bit more and more today. And that gut feeling, we all get it. If it's making a decision on to move forward with a job or a decision at work or something personal, maybe in a relationship, or just something as simple as going to the store that's further away than one that's closer. That gut instinct it's you telling you what to do. And the only person to block those decisions is yourself. So we have a wonderful guest on That's What She Said this week. And she's a very dear friend who actually have given me the opportunity to speak. Well, you know what? I'll let you learn more about her. So let me just add another thank you for tuning in today on a Thursday at 1:30 or Saturday morning at WSGW.com or on the airwaves Saturday morning at 8 a.m. or Sunday at 6. So Jennifer Vannette is here. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi.
Thank you for being on air.
Oh, thank you for having me.
I'm excited to have you here because we've talked about this lots of times and we finally got you on the books. And I was able to speak at your place of employment and now you are here with me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself and let the community know how they might know you.
Okay. Well, I'm Jennifer Vannette, and I'm outreach coordinator at the Castle Museum of Saginaw County History. So you've probably met me somehow through either some networking through that because I'm out in the community a lot, but I also oversee like all of our programming and basically, I like to think of my job as making you feel welcome when you come to us. So I wear a lot of hats. I'm involved in a lot of like programming, education, marketing, communications. So there are a lot of little touch points.
So you work in a castle?
I do. I work in a castle. Not a lot of people get to say that.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
so cool. So what is the Castle Museum and where is it located?
Okay, so the Castle Museum's in downtown Saginaw, and it was originally a post office. So it's a really fancy building based on French architecture. It was opened in 1898, and so they wanted to pattern it off of the first people in Saginaw, and in 1880s that they weren't very culturally sensitive, we can say. And so they were really meaning the French fur traders that came. And so they looked at French architecture for their inspiration for this sort of monumental building in Saginaw, which was a growing and bustling place at the time. So the post office needed to be very large and grand, and so that's why there is, when people drive by, they're like, why is there a castle in Saginaw? It's because at the time they built the post office, they thought a French chateau would be a really great idea.
That would make a really interesting post office. Just saying, I would probably send out more paper mail and randomly go buy stamps if I could go into a castle.
Well, I know, it's really cool. And then it got expanded in 1937. So like our current main lobby, when you come into the museum, is the main lobby, like if you had entered the post office after 1937. So it's like really grand. Like when you walk in and you think about standing at the tables that are still there to like put your stamps on your letters and things, it's like, wow, this is just like something you don't experience every day anymore.
Wow. So you get to...
Well, I do.
You get to.
Well, I mean, I don't put my stamps on letters when I'm there, but...
I mean, you could take your mail over there.
I could just bring mail in with me to work and
relive it. So this is a quite unique and grand experience that you get to have as employment.
Yeah.
Did you think that you were going to work at the Castle Museum? Was that something that you were just like, I want to do this and preserve and share history at that museum that looks like a castle?
No. Because I didn't grow up around here. And so it wasn't until, my more recent past that I even knew of the Castle Museum. And I didn't know I was going to be a historian either. So my life story is a little messy. So originally from Indiana, but I moved around a lot. Met my husband when we were both at Indiana State University. And it was near the end of my junior year, his senior year, and he was already going to grad school in Boston. And I was like, hey, great knowing you. Have a good life. I got stuff to do.
Okay.
And then he decided to propose. So we knew each other for 3 months, and he asked me to marry him.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Pump the brakes.
Yeah.
And you said yes.
I did. I just kind of knew. But I was like, but I got to finish school. So have fun. Like,
okay,
I got stuff to do. We'll get married when I'm done. But we made a deal at the time because I wasn't entirely sure what I wanted. And anybody who's been through grad school, it's really stressful and really hard. And if you have both in a partnership going through grad school at the same time, it just adds to the stress. And so I said, okay, I will support you, but you have to promise that when you're done, then it's my turn if I want to do that. And he was like, done, no problem. So that worked out because he knew, like, he had a plan, like he knew where he was going. And I had no idea where I was going. I just didn't know what I wanted. And so I graduated, and my undergrad, my bachelor's, graphic design and art history. And my first job was as an art teacher for a rec center. And we lived out in Boston. And then so then his path got a little messy, and we ended up moving around quite a bit. We had a couple kids in there. And then he finished his PhD and started working at SVSU. And that's what brought us to the area about 15 years ago. And then
There's a lot of moving parts.
There's a lot. And then I still wasn't going to do history. Like that still wasn't the plan. I was looking at other options, possibly art therapy and things leaning back into my art degrees. And but with two small kids and being here and there weren't programs for that, not a lot of people get really mad and frustrated with life and then apply to grad school, but that's what I did. Maybe I should have like reached for the tub of ice cream and drowned my sorrows.
You're
but
like, no, let's fill out this application.
But instead I rage applied to grad school, and that was for a master's in history at Central Michigan University. And to my surprise, they accepted me. I was like, oh, I'm going to grad school. And I loved it. And it was such a great fit that I ended up staying on for my PhD.
Wow.
And yeah. And then after all of that, and it's still going to be a few more years after I graduate before I even find out about being able to work at a castle. And yeah.
So did you complete your PhD?
I did.
Wow. I know that. So you said your original study and field was graphics design and art history.
Yeah.
But just before that, you said, my husband knew his path. He knew the plan. I didn't. Graphics design and art history are still very specific for someone that says they didn't know what their plan was. What made you choose those items?
So I was always in love with art. I mean, I still am. But and my grandma was an artist, and she was a nurse. Like that was her day job, but then she was always painting and always creating. And I, watching her, I thought, I'm going to grow up and I'm going to do art, but it's going to be my job. And that's as much as I really knew. And so then when I was applying for colleges, my dad is a very practical, he's a mechanical engineer, like that, like very, very practical guy. And he was like, okay, I support the art thing, totally do. But could you pick something with some practicality, please? And so that's how I landed on graphic design.
How did you feel when he told you that, though?
I actually thought that makes a certain amount of sense. Like, right. Like, I mean, I knew that there are possibilities to make a living off of art, but I knew it was going to be a hard path. And I thought, well, actually, this does make sense. I can be creative, but still do something that has a lot of marketability. So I went into school like kind of knowing that much. And I'm really grateful to Indiana State because they require all art majors, no matter what, to have this general art track so that you're a very well-rounded art major. So you're not allowed to just like tunnel vision focus on your discipline. So that because of that, I had to take art history courses and I just fell in love immediately. And so, I don't know if it was practical or not, but I just like added it on. I like kept doing the graphic design, but then also did the art history at the same time.
Do you think that students that choose creative degrees or fields to land in, do you think that they have a more difficult time? The practicality of it, because I mean, you and I were in school some time ago, and for our parents, because mine said something very similar, and there's still this generation of creatives, right? They call themselves creatives. And do you see that them being creatives is easier or equally as challenging as it might have been for you?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, I think where we have a hard time is that society needs the creatives, but feels like that can be like an add-on. Like they don't understand how necessary arts and humanities are to being a human. You would think with COVID, we would have learned and understood it, because who was it that pulled us through and kept us, like functioning and together and seeing beauty and connecting through story? Like, it was the creatives, right? So you would think we would get it by now, but we still just somehow always have this mentality like, oh, well, that's the nice add-on thing that we can have.
Yeah. Well, literally in school, it's an extra
It
curricular.
is. It
Yeah.
is. Yeah. Then and my kids have always gravitated towards music, and it's always been, that challenge of like, well, we've got to figure out how to make your schedule work so you can have all the music classes you want, and I want you to have all the ones you want, right? So yeah, it's always like an extra. But I I don't
I guess that kind of goes to what I kind of just preluded in the beginning was the difference between a need and a want,
Yeah.
right? And that's different for
Yeah.
everyone,
Yeah.
right? So, maybe your
Mhm.
dad, like mine, that arts and creative wasn't necessarily a want. I mean, a need.
Mhm.
It was more or less a want,
Mhm.
right? And then you have this, other side of the brain working a little differently,
Yeah.
and we see it as a need.
Yeah.
I need to have this creative aspect.
Mhm.
So, are
Mhm.
you a creator? Because you called yourself a historian.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's interesting. So I think that it ebbs and flows with me, right? Like I think overall, yes. And I stay in touch with that artistic side, but life happens and sometimes I just don't feel creative. Like I don't sometimes I'm so tired. It's like the idea of having to clean up my supplies after getting them out is just too much. It's just that one step too far. But then I will start to I always tell my husband my hand is itchy. And that's when I know it's like I at least have to pull out a sketchbook. Like my hand gets itchy and I have to start doing something. And it's usually not for anybody else. Like most of the time when I'm creating anything at this point, it's just something for me. Yeah.
It's for you. You're filling your own cup that way.
Yeah.
So let's take a few steps back here and talk about a plan. Okay. You said, and I'm going to say it again, your husband was like, I have a plan.
Yes.
And you were like, I'm going to marry you. But we've only known each other 3 months. Yay. Let's do this thing.
Yeah.
That feels like, you said it, a messy plan, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it sounds like it worked out.
Well, it did. So we've been together 25 years. So, it's still working.
But I'm sure in those 3 months, and I'm just, if we have a woman who's listening and was like, this is my guy,
mm-hmm.
What did that look like and feel like for you?
Oh, it felt sort of bonkers. Like I said yes. And then I was just like, oh, now I have to tell people I just did this. Right. Also, there was no plan. It was like, he didn't have a ring or anything. We were just having a conversation. And then he just blurted out, marry me. And I was like, oh, okay, sure. So there are no pretty pictures. It was
a different time.
It was a different time. It was a different moment. It just kind of happened. And so I kind of I was really nervous. Like, are people going to try to talk me out of this? I get that this is just fast and strange. And so finally I was talking to my mom and I was talking kind of around it, like life plans after graduation. And I'm like, well, maybe I will go out to Boston and stuff. And she was like, so what, do you think you're going to get married or something? I was like, well, actually.
Oh.
And she was like, yeah, it makes sense. And I was like, huh? And then even my dad, Mr. Practical,
I was just going to say,
like,
what did dad say?
Makes sense. I see this. Like everybody in our lives they were just like, oh yeah, you too. It makes sense. And that gave me a little bit of like, oh, okay. So other people are seeing this. Cause I was really prepared to have to be like, it'll be fine. Don't worry about me,
And they saw it.
And they saw it too. So,
wow.
Yeah.
I guess, that's a love story all within itself. No pictures needed, right?
Right.
No post on that.
No social media at the time, none of that. So yeah.
But very practical dad was on board.
Yeah. Practical dad was on board right away.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
So you're out in Boston.
Yep.
Going to school. He's going to school.
He's going to school.
What were you doing?
So I was teaching art. So where I said, like my plan got messy. Right around the time I met Matt, I was doing things to learn about, the networking things. You go to the thing to meet other graphic designers, to start like meeting potential employers and doing all that stuff. And two things were happening when I was set to graduate. One was just what always happens with graphic design is that they want you to market things. They want you to get people to buy things. And I started having a little moral quandary with, is that what I want to do? I love the creative side of it. Do I love the actual capitalism side of it?
Yeah. Sales of it. Right?
Yes. And then also I graduated in 2000, and the only thing anybody was hiring for at that moment was website design. And it was those early days, and I knew how to do it, and I hated doing it. It was my least favorite thing. Like, I love doing things for print. I hated doing website design.
But you just studied this. You just graduated. You invested in yourself and in your career.
Right. Yeah. And I couldn't do art history without grad school. And I set out grad school was on pause, so that wasn't going to be a thing. And so I answered a job ad to teach something I never thought I would do ever. And it was a weird interview. They were like, hey, can you do this? And I was like, yes, of course. Like, I will be great. And then they hired me and I was like, what did I just do? But I guess I'm an art teacher now. And it worked out. It was pretty fun.
You keep taking these leaps.
Yeah.
3 months in a relationship, you took a leap, you moved, and then you applied to a job and said, why not?
Why not?
Awesome. Okay. Well, we're going to take a quick break. We have with us Jen, my dear friend, Jen Vannette. And when we come back, yes, we're coming back and we're going to talk about the messy plan. Was it okay? How to fix it? And what are we doing next? So stay tuned. You're listening to That's What She Said with Christiana Malacara.
That's What She Said with Christiana Malacara is back. Now let's spill the tea.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to That's What She That's What She Said. I am trying to get all the words out because I'm so excited because I feel like this conversation it's rolling. I have with me Jennifer Vannette. Jen, thank you for being on and sharing a piece of you with the community, as you do all the time as you work at the Castle Museum.
Yes.
I think that's so cool. It's a fun job.
Mm-hmm.
Like we said in the first half, how many people work in a castle? Mm-hmm. It's a small and mighty staff there.
Yeah.
But the route that you took to get where you landed right now, in the first segment, you had said a few times it was a messy plan. Mm-hmm. Do you think it's okay to have a messy plan?
Yes. Yeah, I think we sometimes get too fixated on setting a goal and having to achieve that particular goal. But as you're moving through life, things change. And I think that being adaptable is really important because there's nothing wrong with like that goal setting, but like, don't let it blind you to a different opportunity. Like you have to be willing to just see where things are going to take you.
Okay. You have to be willing to see where things are going to take you, even if it's off of your original plan. Is that okay?
I think so, because why not create a new plan? Like, why not re-envision where you can go? Just because you had one idea. I mean, when I was like 6, I think I thought I was going to be a dolphin trainer. I mean, that like, right. Like, I mean, we accept.
That didn't work out. I'm sorry.
It didn't. But we accept like letting go of like our childish notions of what our work will be. But why can't we let go of it and just shift and take a different path? When in adulthood, when we see like, maybe this path isn't for me anymore. Maybe it was a really good path for a while. Maybe it served me really well, but now it doesn't. Or now there's just this opportunity to try something else. Why not like try that? So you can change your goals as many times as you want.
When you make those changes, if you're veering off the path or see an opportunity, seize it and maybe get back on the path, is that a feeling of worry? Is it a feeling of stress? Is it happiness? Is it joy? What does that feeling look like?
I think that anytime, for me anyway, anytime I like kind of took a leap and tried something else, there was always like some stress and nervousness about it. But sometimes you just have to push through it, right? Like there's rarely a time, at least for me, where it's just been like, oh yes, look at this thing that is going to be clearly perfect for me. My skill sets match perfectly. I am just going to step into that. Like that just doesn't usually happen. Normally it's like, should I do that? Does it maybe would work? Should okay, I'll apply. Okay. Like next step. And oh, you hired me. Okay, now I have to actually figure out how to do this job, like how to do the thing and like what it means to them for me to be doing that thing. Right. And you just, it is scary. It's scary. And it's okay to be scared and just take the next step anyway.
Oh, I like that. It's okay to be scared.
Yeah.
But to take the step anyway.
Right.
So do you think women suffer from almost self-doubt when they're taking these steps?
I think so. And I think
Did you?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I still have self-doubts, right? Like I don't know. I made that like that last thing sounded really good, right? But I have self-doubts. I mean, I even have doubts right now thinking like, is what I'm saying going to be helpful or good enough for somebody else, right? Like self-doubt it's a thing that we all deal with all the time, right? But I don't know, again, like I guess you just have to find your ways of navigating that and doing things anyway. Like the doubt will be there because if you're at all introspective, I think you're going to just kind of naturally question.
So it's human.
I think so. Yeah. And there are just, I mean, I don't think there's any one way to work through that doubt. I think each person has to kind of figure out, is it a support network? Is it something internal? Like whatever it might be for them. But I think we're going through that. That's a good question. I'm not sure. Can this be therapy now? No, I'm just kidding. How do I work through it? I think that I am a bit stubborn. And so when I set my mind to something, I just kind of keep going until I either get there or decide, oh, wait, this wasn't my path.
So you work through the doubt.
Yeah.
You just kind of keep pushing it aside and chug along. Keep
going. I mean, I do talk to people that, my like circle of people and process with them too. So that helps. But yeah.
You have an empowerment circle?
An empowerment circle. I mean, as something that I've labeled that, I guess not, but I think yes, when you say that. I mean, I have family and friends that are definitely
your cheerleaders.
The cheerleaders that, yeah.
Has that circle of people ever shifted on these different plans, these messy plans and these little detours?
I mean, yes. And partly, I mean, there's always like the core people, like, like my husband is definitely always there. My kids have, especially like they're now older, like they're 21 and 17. So they are very old enough, to be like very aware of everything. And they are definitely, cheerleaders of things. It's always nice when they think mom is cool. Like those moments you got to hold on to. It's like, yes, mark the date. But my family, and I do have a strong group of friends, but I will say friends have changed as things changed because Matt and I moved so many times. We lived in, I'd have to count like 5 different states together before moving, or this is the 5th one. It's a lot. It's a lot. We moved all over the country. I did different jobs and I went to grad school and each time I made new friends, like new friends get added, but the reality of life is you do disconnect from people as, you don't see them every day, you lose touch. So there are plenty of people. I do appreciate the power of social media to keep me like that little bit connected to people that, I live halfway across the country from now. But that actual core empowerment circle, yeah, that shifts. It shifts.
So you moved more than 5 times.
Yeah.
When you were in each location, is there one or two things that you picked up and you were like, this is a habit that I'm going to keep with me on this next journey? This is a lesson that I've learned from here that I'm going to keep with me. And as I move on, this has shaped and shifted my mind. Has that ever happened during all these moves?
Mm-hmm. I think so. And I mean, I think every place I've gone, something about that experience has like shifted and changed me. And I think one of like the through lines, like sort of is like almost a growth in those shifts. It's like I'm actually a very introverted person. I have a very public facing job, and I am like oftentimes like speaking to people, networking and doing all these things. So people are sometimes surprised to realize like I actually need to recharge, like alone with a book or something a little bit, because I'm quite introverted. And when I first graduated from undergrad, I mean, I was very shy. Like even the idea of teaching children seemed like a huge leap, but somehow working with kids was okay. So when we moved and I couldn't find an art job, the next job was, working with youth, and that was okay. But that job made me have to do public speaking in front of adults. And so then it was like, that was like the next step. And then, each subsequent job. So I've had to now be in front of people from preschool to like end of life. So I now have
the whole spectrum,
the whole range. But it's interesting, like being able to like shift, and the person I am today isn't the person I was before. Like I have grown and changed in numerous ways.
Are you comfortable with the person you are today?
Yes.
You feel good being this woman?
Yes. And I'm more comfortable like in who I am now than I think I was before, like when I was younger.
So as you moved and you said you picked up different things in each location that shift you, was there something in particular that was like, yes, this is the aha moment and I'm going to carry that trait forever?
So when I was in grad school, I had one of my aha moments was stop competing. Everything, especially higher ed, grad school, you're trying to get the attention and the funding and the fellowships and the research grants and all the things. So school in many ways is set up to feel very competitive. And I'd been attached to schooling in different ways forever, it felt like. And I didn't want to compete. I realized I enjoyed collaboration, and I enjoyed the conversations, like sitting around the offices and somebody else is researching something that I don't know about, but I'm learning about it and they're learning about mine, and like realizing like connections across that, or a connection to how to teach or whatever. And I don't compete with people. Like I have skills that I know I bring to the table, and I've come to embody like the confidence of that. Like I know I can bring something to the table. I know I'm not the only person who can bring this to the table.
Is that okay with you?
It is okay with me.
Why?
Because there are a lot of people who can bring things to the table, right? It's also takes pressure off of you. You don't have to be the best and the greatest, because we're all in this together. So if everybody's bringing their skills and talents to the table, isn't that better than trying to, play king of the mountain and knock other people off? Like, and isn't it nicer to like feel like you're working in collaborative support of one another than just trying to, like, you're taking the pressure off yourself. You don't have to be the only one and the best one doing all the things. Like we can like do things together. And so I don't compete anymore. I hope you see what I can bring, and I hope that has value to you, but I'm not going to compete for it.
That is a pearl of wisdom. That is absolutely amazing. I have goosebumps over here. So essentially, you're telling us that it's better to collaborate than to compete, because we're all human, we're in it together, and this relieves the pressure off of you. Have you ever thought of this timeline being, you said you've spoke with and presented to children, youth, and adults in end of life, and that you had to push your way through these obstacles and this whole, like we said earlier, of I don't know if I can do this self-doubt. Do you think that you've ever compete with yourself and to push yourself forward?
All the time. So yeah, I have to say that is where I am. Like, if there is competition, it's within myself. It's okay, I achieved that. Like, can I do better?
Do you think that's healthy to think that?
I think that it can be healthy, but it can be unhealthy, right? Like, I think there is a fine line there. But I try to stay, sort of grounded in, like, not being too much of a perfectionist. And I will say that's something I've changed over time. When I was younger, I was definitely more of a perfectionist. It is not my parents' fault. They were always like, Jen, chill.
Most graphics designers are perfectionists. So yeah.
I mean, I've had that, like, somehow that's innate in me. So I've actually mellowed out in that. But at the same time, when I'm competing with myself, it's just about my own growth. It's about what can I accomplish. And if I've set my mind on a goal and I want to accomplish that, then, like, the only competition I'm having is with myself. Can I build the skills or the knowledge that I need to do it?
This is just reminding me of what I had said before we started with going with your gut, right? And making decisions based off of, I have this gut feeling that this needs to happen or that this doesn't need to happen. And then if you go with it, you're basically setting yourself up for success.
You hope so anyway, right? Like, you're trying.
And we're all human, like you said. So, the best we can do is to try, lean on each other, collaborate, and keep competing with yourself. So is there ever a point for a woman to say, okay, I don't need to compete with myself anymore. This is good. I'm good right here. Let's plateau.
Possibly. I think, I don't know if I yet feel that way. And maybe it's because I tend to be the type of person, if I feel like I've really mastered something, then I tend to look for the next thing that I can learn. And it's just out of curiosity. It's not because I need to do something that's better or more. It's not really about that for me. It's more just, okay, I figured that out. That's really cool. What else is there? Like, what else can I now do? So I don't know. I think that it would be okay. I think the idea of just being really comfortable and knowing, like, hey, this is who I am and what I bring to the table, and I'm really content with where I'm at. That sounds nice. I like that idea.
Do you think you're a person with high confidence?
I think it's situationally. There are, I think I wanted to say no. And then I think, well, sometimes yes. And then I think about, like, friends or family who would be like, you have confidence, Jen. But I think it depends on the situation, right? Like, there are times where I have to go to, like, a new, a good example is I just had to go to a conference I'd never been to before. And I was just like, I'm texting with my husband. I'm like, I hate these new things. I feel like the new kid at school. I hate it. Like, I don't want to, okay. Like, and then I feel like nobody's going to want to talk to me. I have nothing to say. And then I get there and I start talking to people and meeting people, and it's wonderful. And, and then I, like, slow down and I calm down and I stop having the internal, and so I don't know. I mean,
but that, like you said earlier, that's normal. That's human, right?
It does, right? It is human. It's so I don't know. Maybe there are people who are confident all the time. That's not me, but am I confident sometimes? Yes.
So if we have a listener who's tuning in, and is saying, that's me. I'm nervous and not confident quite often. What are some tips that you would give her?
I think that you have to maybe have a little self-talk. Remind yourself, like, okay, there's a reason I'm here. There are things that I can do. And I think that you also have to remind yourself it's okay to say, I don't know how to do this, or I need help. And that like can help you break through those moments. Like, it's okay to walk into a new room and be like, hi, new kid. Am I supposed to check in somewhere? What am I doing here? I don't know. It's okay. It's okay. But I think when you make those choices of how you're entering a space or whatever you're doing, like, be yourself. Don't try, like, you can fake that you're like confident and happy to be there. That's fine. You can fake that kind of stuff. But otherwise, like, don't try to be a different person. Just bring yourself into the space, because there's going to be somebody who totally vibes with that. And there are going to be people who don't. And don't focus on that part of it, and just find your people.
Find your people. That's an important part right there. I always try to use the analogy of, you remember when you're in school, maybe like third or fourth grade, and everybody's facing the front of the room, and the teacher says, does anybody have any questions? And everybody's looking around and nobody raises their hand. And then all of a sudden one brave soul says, I have a question. And then everybody's like, whew, I had the same question. But nobody was willing to raise their hand.
Yeah.
Do you think that you're the person that's willing to raise your hand?
Yes. Especially if I feel like it's on behalf of other people. Like, I am totally fine.
That is an act of empowerment.
Well, I'm totally fine with just being that one. Just be like, okay, I will say it. If nobody else wants to say it, I'm going to say it. If it's only for myself, like if I'm the only person having gain from that, I have a harder time. I will admit that. I might sit back more. But if I'm in a situation where it's just like, no, we need to get into this, we need to solve this, we need to advocate, whatever it might be, then I'm usually the person that's like charging into the room. I have a friend who calls me Wreck-It Ralph, and that's
okay. I would not have put those two together, but now I do.
Yeah.
Now I do. I don't know if they would let Wreck-It Ralph in a castle though. So Jen, in our last few moments here, you've given us loads of advice, like to the point where I'm going to go back and write things down after I watch this. But what is one piece of advice that you would pass along to a woman of the Great Lakes Bay region?
If a path's not working for you, you don't have to stay on it. You can have a messy trajectory and just find that next step that fulfills you.
It's a great piece of advice. Jen Vannette is at the Castle Museum in downtown Saginaw. I appreciate you being here, Jen. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Jennifer Vannette, and That's What She Said. We'll see you next week for another episode of That's What She Said with Christiana Malacara.